Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hey there, listeners. Do you want to boost your productivity and finally get some things done?
We have an exciting opportunity just for you. Join our free masterclass, Get Shit Done, on June 24th and 25th.
It's time to take control, smash those goals, and make things happen.
Don't miss out. Reserve your spot now and transform the way you work. Visit badassamplifier.com/GSD-masterclass to sign up today. And don't worry, you'll find that link in the show notes.
It's time. Let's get some shit done. Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We're talking about one of the tried and trues, the power of accountability. It's big, huge. It has been a huge part of my businesses for years because for those of you who don't know, I was in the health and wellness atmosphere, and there's no business in my opinion that is as forward about the accountability as the fitness industry, because that is literally holding people accountable was literally what made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you'll never convince me otherwise that accountability doesn't make a big difference in your results, both from a fitness standpoint, but also from a business standpoint. It is everything when it comes down to really defining your discipline and how far you get, because motivation, discipline, those aren't always readily available. Accountability will get you there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny when we decided that this is definitely like one of the reasons why people hire us. But I can remember like when back in the day when I first started coaching and consulting, living in Hawaii, and people would ask others that work with me, like, why Lynn? Because she holds us accountable. Like, it's the best thing and the worst thing about working with Lynn is that she's going to hold us accountable. And like, we definitely have that in common where we are like, no. And I think some of our key phrases that we use, like no excuses, only solutions, which was my tagline forever. And then like less talk, more doing. So action, like that's very much about, ingrained in both of us, which is one thing that I think one reason why we work so well together as well, is because we believe in that accountability. But there are some things around the power of accountability and some agreements that need to be had in order to be able to get the most out of having an accountability partner as well. And the first thing is when you're looking for, because there's there's several kinds of accountability, but two kinds of accountability that really come to mind, especially with businesses, like the accountability that we have with others about ourselves, about others. So I'll bucket that underneath one, but also the accountability that we have with ourselves, right? So there's kind of two folds there.
Absolutely. I think that it seems very easy to say that, oh, well, I can just do it myself. Like, I don't need anybody to make me accountable. Like, I'm disciplined, I'm motivated, I got this. And I'm going to go back with one of my favorite fitness examples. And I know you're going to hear me say it a lot today, but I don't have a personal trainer because I don't know how to do a squat. When I'm hiring a personal trainer, I'm hiring them to make me do the squat. I know how to do a squat. I know I was a personal trainer for 20 years. I know how to work out and how to create nutrition plans, but it's not about knowing and having the knowledge. It's not about knowing how to do your business, how to run your business. You ideally all know how to run your business, so you know how to do your passion. The accountability comes in because they're going to make you do it. When I'm doing a workout plan at home and I just did 10 reps, I'm like, 10's good enough. Accountability is the personal trainer being like, no, you're doing 15. And I just told you to do 15. And now you're going to do 20 because you fought me on doing the 15. And that's what accountability is. And when I think about it from a business consultant perspective, because I'm absolutely accountability person, that's exactly what I do. When someone pushes back, like, oh, well, maybe I don't need to do that. I just had a client just this last week was like, well, I know that we said I was going to do this to make X amount of dollars, but like, I'm really feeling like I need to be more altruistic and really get into the community. And maybe I need, and she was basically, it's not that she shouldn't be altruistic. It was that she was trying to use that to avoid the work that she didn't want to do because she was trying to refine her sales process and she was nervous and scared of sales. And I flat out told her, like, no, you need to get paid now. Like, I know we're not shying away from this because it's hard. And so if I could easily have just been like, yeah, sure, we can do that instead and just been her yes person, but I'm holding her accountable to her original goals. Her original goal was to increase her sales and to refine her process. So my push is to hold her accountable to that and the goals that she had set forward and what she wanted to achieve and when. And so when you think about accountability in your business and having an accountability partner, you want someone who isn't going to be the yes person who just lets you let go because times are tough. Like, oh yeah, you're right. You haven't had a hard day. Sure, let's take off the next 3 weeks. Like, you want somebody who's going to say, yeah, you did have a hard day. That sucks. Buck up, get your work done. And yeah, there's always a reason that you would say no to that. But overall, accountability is getting it done even when you don't want to get it done. It's somebody else holding you accountable because they're holding that discipline for you. They're holding that space for discipline when it falters. And it's very easy to let go of your discipline. It's very easy to lose motivation in everything in life, not just in your business, but in literally everything. We can fall off the wagon. So having that accountability buddy, that partner, whether they're paid or not paid, is really going to help you accelerate whatever your goal is and get to your goal faster because somebody is holding the space for your discipline when it falters.
Absolutely. Well, an accountability partner too can also what one of my mentors used to say is keep you out of the weeds, right? So a lot of times we can kind of get in the nitty gritty or the mess or like the drama or the shoulda, coulda, wouldas or whatever like that. And I know that you said it from like they can like call you out on it, but they can also keep you out of it as well. So because they can give you a different perspective, they can see the forest through the trees. They're able to like really hold. And just to give kind of our example, or even like a fitness example, the fitness instructor typically knows that you want to get healthier, that you maybe want to lose weight, that you want to fit into that dress or whatever. Us as consultants, we know, well, because we make them give us their goals and we work with them on their goals. We know where they want to go. So we're able to hold them accountable based on the direction in which they want to go. Because there's a difference between just being a jerk accountability, which I can definitely be sometimes. I know I call people out on their shit, but also people don't come to me for the warm and fuzzies, but also to help keep them in alignment of the direction in which they need to go to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. So we're able to see the forest through the trees to be able to help guide them. And this isn't just us. Other people can do this as well. Like Amanda said, paid or not paid, profession or not profession, right? So it is very much something that somebody can help you do, because otherwise, in my opinion, without accountability, and this is personal accountability or external accountability, like we are just kind of like going through the motions. We're not necessarily, it's not as efficient maybe, or as productive as one could be if they had that accountability measure. It gives you the consistency. An accountability individual can give you a consistency that can build new habits, build new neural pathways for you to be able to have a better mindset, a better foundation and fundamentals for you to actually whatever you're being held accountable for, to like be able to set up the even the mental systems to be able to make sure that you naturally do that, right? That you automatically do that, unless it's just kind of like for a one-time thing, that's slightly different. But if it's a long-term, like helping you stay focused in the right direction, It absolutely can help you. Kind of like the coach. Like I learned so much from my last coach. I loved my coach. I still do. He's amazing. And there are so many things that I personally do now because I've learned from him, things that he set up in my little mental bank, my brain bank, in order for me to be able to um, be able to have a great workout, a well-rounded workout when I'm working out and stuff. And then I go to a class or whatever for that accountability.
There's a lot of practical tools and techniques that you can use to enhance your accountability. So obviously we've already talked about accountability partners, but there's tracking systems. There's all sorts of technology that you can use. You can use things like your SMART method of goal setting. So it's specific, measurable, achievable / attainable, relevant, and time bound. So you can have that SMART methodology. You can have regular check-ins and progress reviews, and you can have people that sort of set those benchmarkers for you. So you can use all those things to help keep you accountable. But ultimately, like Lynn said, you're creating patterns and things that will change your life. It's not just, oh, well, this one thing is going to work and then I'm going to be done with it. Because if you're really if you're really holding yourself accountable from a personal standpoint, as well as having these external, whether it's paid or unpaid people or circumstances, technology holding you accountable, it's going to trickle into the rest of your life. And there are things that I have learned over years that it triggers in my brain every time I think about it now. It's like, oh, well, this is the more efficient way to do that. This is the way I can be able to get that done. And it trickles down into creating basically part of my behavior and persona now, because I have learned these things and they become ingrained in me. And so having that accountability partner or that system of accountability is more than just that one thing you're trying to get done that one time. It's more than just the one squat you're trying to get through. It's all the things that progresses. It's not just doing a squat to do a squat. It's doing a squat to get the gains. Ain't nobody write a song about a flat booty.
Yeah. So. Gotta have the badonk donk. It's my favorite part of working out. It's one of my best assets.
Oh, but
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about personal accountability. One of my favorite sayings is the only person you're lying to is yourself. And it's truth. And, it's hard sometimes. It's also that integrity thing, which I know integrity is a word that's been bastardized, but really integrity is doing the thing that needs to be done even when nobody's looking. And so personal accountability can sometimes be hard because it's easy for us to say, I'll do it tomorrow, or just this one extra cookie, or just, I whatever, whatever it is, personal or professional. And holding ourselves accountable is like pulling, in my opinion, it's almost like pulling from a new space, to be able, at least when I'm trying to hold myself personally accountable, because there are times where those are probably things I've said to myself, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do that later, and later comes and I'm like, shit. Later means 5 days later and I still haven't done it, and that comes into the procrastination thing, which Amanda and I can definitely talk around. But that personal accountability, I feel like when I'm like really, really leaning into it, one, I am like, it's because others rely on me. So I'm very much, I don't want to let people down, right? It is like, that's a learned behavior. I think it's part of my behavioral style, which is interesting because I'm a go-getter and they don't necessarily always care about people, but I'm joking, but kind of not. but also I know it's like, it's from, my past and stuff like that. So there is a part of me that's like, I don't want to let other people down. And this could be my family. This could be without them even knowing, like they might not even know. It also comes from a place of me calling myself out. Like, I'm definitely a self-talker. Like, I'm going to call myself out. Like, come on. Like, would you want your client to act this way? Would you want this to happen? Like, so actually like calling myself out, I'm not always the nicest to myself.
No one is. Actually, we're way meaner to ourselves than we would be to anybody else.
But it does come from a different source, that like personal accountability, especially when I kind of lean more into the procrastination mode, or if I'm leaning more into like overwhelm or like exhaustion mode. It is and then I have to like prioritize to hold myself accountable. And I do have more grace and compassion, but that personal accountability, it almost, and I don't know about you, Amanda, I don't think we've actually spoke about like where that I feel it in my body. Like I feel like it comes from a completely different source. Like I'm pulling the fire out to like push myself forward. And not always, sometimes it's natural, but I'm talking about when I'm like trying not to be accountable to myself.
Oh no, I absolutely. And it's funny you talking about this coming from another place, because I have a tendency, we'll say, to resist authority, and just a tendency, a slight authority issue. And even when the authority is me. So there are times that I resist from a personal accountability standpoint. If I impose something on myself, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that bitch. She's crazy. And I will absolutely resist the authority of myself, because my personal accountability comes from a specific space. And depending on how angsty I'm being that day, I can actually push my own accountability away, because I feel like I'm like the authoritarian is threatening me. And so it's an interesting dynamic that I actually have to navigate with my own psyche, because I do feel like that personal accountability comes from a specific space. And depending on where my mindset is and my headspace and my workload, I can absolutely have a fight with myself. It's like a staff meeting where we're all getting heated. So I'll have a fight with myself over that personal accountability, because I don't like authority and I don't like me telling myself not to do something. So it's probably too little TMI about you can see into my psyche, folks, but it's a dangerous place over here. But personal accountability is something different than just having an external accountability, which is why I often will do better with an accountability partner that I trust and have built a relationship with, like with Lynn, for example, because I know that it's not an authority thing that's having her keep me accountable. It is a mutual understanding of what my goals are. So it feels different, because my personal accountability, I get all mad at myself for being too authoritative with myself. So it helps to have an accountability buddy, but I know that about myself. So it's important to really examine, like it could be a cultural thing. It could be the way you were raised. It could just be your weird behavioral shifts, like your psychoses, but understanding how personal and external accountability really play out in your life can really change how you perceive it and how ultimately it helps or hurts you.
Absolutely. One other thing to help keep you personally accountable is you can lean more into the vision or the why. So kind of two separate things. So a great example is maybe you're not having the personal accountability to put down the extra cookie or to work out on a consistent basis, but like in its moment, but essentially you want to look fucking fabulous because of X, right? Excuse the F-bomb, but still you want to look, it flowed nicely, didn't it? But you want to look fabulous in that dress, or when you go to that particular, on that meeting or whatever, so you can look into the future. And I'm using the weight thing for, you know, the eating out and the things like that, the personal physical fitness, yeah, as an example, because it's something that most of us can relate to. So instead of me like being like, oh, I'll put it off, instead I'm going to throw myself into like, is this helping me get to that particular goal? Or the why of like, I don't want to let people down. Like I want to, kind of what I was going to before, like, you know, would I want my kids to be this way? What's the ripple effect? Is this living in my purpose if I choose this over why? So you can actually pull from, I see you smirking, you can pull from the vision of like, you know, the benefit of, or not the benefit of, and then also your why as well, to kind of help keep you personally accountable.
No, I'm only smirking because I'm just imagining if I employed some of those tactics on myself, I'd be like, whatever, I do what I want. And because when I was younger and I was a bit more of a people pleaser, or I don't want to say I was a bit of a people pleaser, but I was a little bit more concerned about what people thought of me. When you're in your 20s, your teens and 20s, you care a bit more about what people think. And so the way I held myself accountable back then was more like, am I letting somebody else down? Whereas now, I don't really care about that, because it's not about, there's very few people that I really have that level of respect for. Not that I don't have respect for them, but there are very few people that it really is about letting them down. And it usually is, if I really care that much, then there isn't even a question of accountability. It's more like, this is what's getting done, because there's at that level of really not wanting people to be let down. I personally, at that point, it's not even a question of discipline or motivation or accountability. It's just straight up, this is what's happening, because if I have that kind of respect for you, then that's what's happening. But it's different. But think about from my early 20s, it would have been absolutely, I would have been much more cognizant of what other people thought and letting people down and really wanting to cater to that side of myself. But it just changes. And as I said, it's just important that you really think about what accountability means to you and what it's going to give you and how you need it to happen, because everybody's different in how they see it.
No, absolutely. 100%. I feel like we can keep going, but I think it's about time. So, yeah. What we would encourage you at the end of this podcast, I guess, is to like kind of like look at where you're not holding yourself accountable. Like, where the only person you're lying to is yourself. So where are you making excuses that is not helping you be the best you, helping you not grow to be, grow into what you're destined to be, or whatever that is. So, and where can you use an accountability partner? And is your current accountability partner the right partner? Because they typically don't stay. It's usually not a one-dimensional thing or a one-person thing, but they typically, once you grow, you typically need somebody else who can hold that space for you, right? Unless you're both growing at the same kind of capacity. So, just kind of double check, like, where are you not holding yourself accountable, and where can you use more external accountability?
And if you need more external accountability, we got you.
We love it. We love it. And we do this while helping you set up fundamentals and systems to be able to hold yourself better accountable. So I guess till next time,
get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.